Season 10 of Naruto to Boruto Shinobi Striker is finally here. The new update just dropped together with the first new DLC and a development letter in which they show us all the new items and changes that are coming over this first update period. Let's get into it. Little disclaimer though, I recorded this video when the latest dev letter and balance patch dropped. It was supposed to be a quick little reaction to the new update, but because of the devs just loading it with mistakes, it ended up being a half an hour thing that absolutely drove me crazy. Everything was super confusing and frustrating to work with. It was not fun to make this video. I thought it's just gonna be a quick little reaction, and now I had to figure out how I'm gonna make this thing a somewhat enjoyable experience to watch over 30 minutes or something. I kinda just took a complete break from Shinobi Striker, and then I thought, well, now it's been too long probably, but you guys kept asking for it and still wanted to hear my thoughts on Season 10 and everything that came with it. So I thought, okay, I might as well just finish the video now and drop it close to the next update. Might be nice to have that as kind of a little recap or something. Anyways, enjoy the video. I just wanted to get that out of the way real quick so nobody goes into it with the wrong expectations, you know? The leaks have been through. Our first new DLC character in Season 10 is Sage Mode Jiraiya. He comes with the Sage Art Bath of Boiling Oil Jutsu, which will push enemies away and leaves a zone of boiling oil behind that damages enemies, and the Frog Song Jutsu, which is a Shirado-like transformation that grants you access to a total of 3 new ninjutsus. The description says, this ninjutsu replaces your moveset with specialized ones. Additional inputs allow Fukasaku and Shima to fire ultrasonic waves from their mouths to immobilize enemies. Once activated, Ninjutsu Button 1 becomes Shima's binding technique, and Ninjutsu Button 2 has Fukasaku attack with a stream of water. Pressing both ninjutsu buttons simultaneously fires ultrasonic waves. They further say that all 3 of these jutsus will only have very short animation lock for the user, which makes it safer to use and harder to punish. The secret technique is the demonic illusion Gamma Rinsho, which is a wide range attack that will also hit through walls and can trap multiple enemies in a genjutsu, to then, with an additional input, summon a sword with short range that will one-shot nearby enemies. This sword can also be dropped if you get hit by any attacks that would also cause you to drop a flag in a flag battle. You will also get the Jiraiya scroll on top of it, which is its own unique weapon. When buying the Season Pass, you will also get access to the majestic Attire Susanoo secret technique, which can be used by both attack and defense types, and in which the nine-tailed fox enveloped in Susanoo charges forward to attack. The charge passes through all terrain and enemies, dealing enough damage to knock out foes in a single hit. When used as an attack type, Sasuke provides support, and when used as a defense type, Naruto backs you up. That's crazy, oh my god. This might just be the coolest secret technique in the game, bro. I don't even care if it ends up being good or not, I'm already sold. They also announced 3 new SS Plus weapons, the first one being the defense type weapon Black Staff Daikokuten, which is modeled after Ishiki's fighting style. It says it faithfully recreates his various dojutsu abilities as well as his staff techniques. Use its heavy attack to drop cubes onto enemies in order to suppress them. The cubes remain on the field for a set period of time and can serve as obstacles while also disrupting chakra and impairing visibility. The second SS Plus weapon they announced is the Spring Tekken Cherry Blossom for heal types, which will help you to unleash your inner Sakura to rearrange people's faces with superhuman strength. If you hold down heavy attack, you can activate the 100 Healings Jutsu, which continuously restores HP for a set time and boosts your physical abilities. So this seems to be the perfect weapon for some high sustain melee brawler build. And last but not least, the range type weapon Claw Edge Kurama Rasen, which utilizes Shadow Clones and Rasengans in its combos. Your heavy attack will yeet Rasengan wielding Shadow Clones at enemies, and you can also yeet yourself at enemies to lead into close range combos. I hope that this weapon will be better able to capture Naruto's actual fighting style and allow you to use Shadow Clones in creative ways. I think that's kind of what the other Naruto fighting styles have been missing for me so far. The other items announced are the SS costume Boruto outfit Back in Time version, the scientific ninja tool Dragon Dagger that is supposed to have good attack speed, but it's hard to tell from just that one trailer, and not gonna lie, this could have been such a cool weapon. I absolutely love the idea of adding some super badass looking arm blades into the game. But why does it have to be as a scientific ninja bullshit Power Ranger weapon ass looking Fisher Price toy again? This is the kind of weapon choice you get bullied for in Ninja Academy, bro. I was so happy when we got that Lee weapon. I was like, yeah man, just like this. This is exactly what we want. It's so much better than the Fleetfoot weapon back then. Now look at this, bro. Look at this. Motherfucker. Another weapon they announced is the scientific ninja tool Bankai, and it says it is an attack weapon, but in the demonstration the defense type character is using it. So I have to assume it is probably just a typo or translation error or something, and it's actually a defense weapon, but who knows. This weapon excels at consecutive strikes and features a timed input system where inputting combo commands at the exact moment an attack lands boosts the damage. It balances attack speed with destructive power, but demands technical precision, making it a high difficulty weapon for skilled players. Which sounds pretty interesting. And then also the Mirai outfit Battle Garb version Green Orb obtained from the Battle Road. When it comes to balancing, they say usage rates show that a wide variety of moves find play consistently and that they feel like they made the game more skill rewarding by removing a lot of easy unblockable attacks in Season 9 and plan to keep that trend going in Season 10 as well. Their goals for Season 10 balancing wise are specifically create an environment that demands more player skill, tone down certain elements that feel excessively unfair, and rework underperforming ninjutsu and ninja tools to better fit the Season 10 environment. Going forward, they will try to be proactive with balance adjustments based on player feedback. Now I'm asking you guys, where do you get your player feedback from? Who are these players? Where can people give you feedback? Are you guys looking on Reddit, YouTube videos and comments? Do you maybe even have an account or two over at the Shinobi Hub Discord looking what people have to say? Maybe if one of you guys sees this, let us know, because I think people would love to give their feedback, and I also think that not everybody's feedback necessarily holds the same value either. Like, you want to balance based around player feedback? It's like, yeah, okay, how do you get player feedback? Like, who do you get player feedback from? Let us know. We would love to give you feedback. We have lots of feedback. Some of it makes more and some of it makes less sense, okay?
I don't think you have the facilities for that, big man.
I'm going to skip over the part of the development letter where they talk about some of the balance changes that came with the new update, because right now it is already the next day for me and the full list of balance changes already dropped. So let's just have a look at that in a second. But before I give you my thoughts and initial reaction, let's talk about the fact that no word in this whole development letter says anything about any new game modes, maps or anything like that. Season 10 is officially here and still no custom matchmaking. I don't even know how long it's been since, but what feels like an eternity ago, they announced something that to most people sounded like we are finally getting custom matchmaking or a proper training mode or something along those lines, and I don't really get why you would announce something like that if you are not even remotely close to releasing it yet. You just build up that anticipation and then leave people waiting without any payoff. If it still takes you another 3 years, maybe just don't announce anything yet. I can already tell without even having spoken to anyone yet that they are just disappointed right now, and some of them really kinda upset about it. Just because they have been on each and every one of these last development letters ever since you announced that stuff. Because they are impatiently waiting to finally be able to just have a few fights with their friends or test new weapons and builds without always getting harassed by these annoying bots in the lobby that nobody likes, but you just can't turn off and it's driving people crazy. How about you at least give us the option to disable bots in private matches for now? I mean, that shouldn't be too hard or take too long, right?
Talo. Sorry.
Anyways, let's look at the new balance changes. Keep in mind though that right now I didn't have the chance to test anything yet or look at the exact scale of some of these changes, so take it with a grain of salt. I just logged in for the first time after the update and read the changes for the first time. This is just my initial reaction, so if it says reduce the cooldown or damage of a certain move, I may say, okay, that adjustment seems fine, but I don't know by how much they adjusted it, and depending on by how much they actually changed it, I may see it completely differently in the end. Because obviously exactly those kind of details can make a huge difference. With that being said, let's get into it. Okay, general battle balance adjustments. Deflecting an enemy into a wall will not cause a wall splat anymore. I think I get where they are coming from with this one. It means there are no deflect into a wall kind of pitfalls anymore. and less easy openings on the defending side by just deflecting them into a wall. I think what they are trying to achieve here, and that also adds up with the last balance change nerfing a lot of guard breaks and unblockables, is to make the guard a bigger factor in a fight. A more important resource to get around before being able to create an effective damage instance. I will still miss it though now that it's gone, and it will take some time to get used to it. You know, I kind of made it a habit over the years to make sure I position myself in a way so that my opponent has a wall behind them whenever I can. So that's definitely something to adjust to now. Just remembering that this is not an option anymore. They increased the secret technique gauge gained from landing offensive jutsus, guarding with shield type jutsus, or healing with healing jutsus. I think in their heads that sounded like a good idea and makes the game more skill rewarding by giving more ult charge to players who consistently utilize their jutsus well. But it also means that people have more ult charge now, and ult charge team comps are still kind of broken anyways. And it may just make it even more of an ult race and now actually require less actual combat prowess, because you don't actually have to win fights the legit way and can just cheese them with secret technique combos. I feel like right now it's either they use an ult charge setup or they go with the ninjatool and substitution cooldown setup that is even more annoying to deal with, running around with infinite spam, super armor loops, and being damn near impossible to kill without bringing sublocks specifically. But hey, guess what they also want to nerf this update? Sublocks, right? Your only way of dealing with that bullshit. They said that they are nerfing a lot of moves that empty or block substitution, so I hope it's more just moves going from emptying to locking subs and not them actually removing a whole lot of sublocks, but let's see. Reduce the tracking ability of projectiles from the first and second hits of the Momoshiki cast character's heavy attacks. I hope that also counts for the Momoshiki weapon. Added super armor effect from activation until the attack lands for wind style Rasen Shuriken on the attack class. I guess. Nice, I guess. You can very well do that. I don't think it was needed. Rasen Shuriken is a good move, but I guess it makes it easier to use. It is kind of confusing though, because they say they want to make the game more skill requiring or something, but then they also keep making everything easier. Sharingan, added effect that allows locking on to invisible enemies while active. That is a smart change. Oh my god, that's nice. Vanishing Rasengan, reduce the speed of the Rasengan. Increase the tracking ability of the Rasengan, so it's slower but it tracks better. Increase the duration of Rasengan generation, so probably more wind up, I guess. Increase the speed until the attack lands. Okay, reduce the speed of the Rasengan, increase the speed until the attack lands. Okay, that's confusing. I don't know what they mean here, what they are exactly referring to. Reduce the distance enemies are knocked back when hit. That could be good, but could also be a bad thing. Because, you know, if it's reduced to a point where you can combo off of it easier and follow up on it easier, hell yeah. But if not, then it's really just kind of reducing the knockback for no reason and just kind of taking away from it. Reduced cooldown time, that could kind of be the saving wave. Reduce damage, I don't get why. Remove the guard break effect, making the ninjutsu guardable. That's kind of stupid for that jutsu. Like, come on, why do we need to nerf Vanishing Rasengan? I mean, maybe it's actually a buff, because, you know, as I said, I don't know how these exact changes will behave in-game, what that actually translates to. But, you know, reducing the speed, reducing the damage, making it blockable, I am not really sure if they understand what this jutsu is supposed to be, or like what people use it for. It is supposed to be like a fast, long-range guard break. It's like kind of what people are using for, and not even that many people to begin with. So why are we taking that away from it? Is it one of these instances where these other buffs they added are just so significant that they will just outweigh the nerfs, or are we just nerfing mid-range jutsus that barely anybody uses? What the fuck? Acrobat technique goes from resetting ninjutsu cooldown to just blocking ninjutsus on hit enemies.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
And not gonna lie, in 7 years, I did not even notice that thing resetted ninjutsu cooldown to begin with, because it also resets your substitution stock and does a whole lot of damage. and you can just jump cancel out of it and, lead into a charge attack and follow up on it and just kill the person anyways. If I land acrobat technique, then they have no sub and I can follow up, so they are dead. I don't care if they have ninjutsu or not. I don't think that this change is too relevant. It's okay, I guess. I don't really care. They removed the guard break effect on Kurama Twin Impact and made it blockable, which arguably can be a good change. I don't know if it's really necessary. I personally am not a fan of this change, but I know someone who is going to be very happy about that, and on the receiving end, playing against it, it is going to be quite convenient. It will make it harder to use effectively though. For Oboe, they removed the substitution stock reset on the Oboe drop, so you can't use it for sub-block combos like that anymore. Combo-wise, just an extender to combo reset with or for some extra damage, but it now blocks enemy ninjutsus instead, and they bumped up its tracking buff again. This is a prime example of a move that doesn't know what it wants to be. I don't care about blocking their jutsus on hit with this jutsu. It's one of the best extenders in the game. I can use it to reset twice or more and add some good damage. I liked it after they nerfed it back then and made it more combo heavy and toned down the other buffs a bit. I'm sure I will also like the tracking buff, but why does it need to be that weird mix of being a buff station that you'll use to get openers in more easily, but then also an extender, but not as good for that anymore, but then it randomly also locks jutsus? It just kind of feels like they were just saying, yeah, let's just try it that way and see if it does anything. Why not? Karma Lynchpin's Strange Taste does not reset the ninjutsu cooldown of hit enemies anymore. It now just disables the ninjutsus of hit enemies and also reduces their attack. They increase the speed until charging forward and the speed of the charge for Boruto Strike. So I think that one will just execute a little bit faster now and will be a little bit easier to land. For Koto Amatsukami, they also added an effect that allows locking onto invisible enemies while active, just like for the Sharingan. That makes sense. Wood style Wood Golem Jutsu, reduced secret technique gauge cost, I think that is fine. And that's already it for the attack class. Let's move on to range now. Onyx Chidori, removed the ninjutsu cooldown reset effect on enemies hit, added an effect that disables the use of ninjutsu upon hit. Adjusted the motion that enemies take when hit, adjusted to prevent the user from flinching when hit by certain attacks. Huh? Onyx Chidori does not reset ninjutsu cooldown. It resetted your substitution cooldown. What the fuck? Oh my god, is that just in the whole development letter? Were they referring to substitution jutsu cooldown time the whole time and not to ninjutsu cooldown time? Is that just a typo or translation error again? And is that in the whole development letter and the whole patch note thing?
You serious? Nice job, team.
Now you guys must be kidding me right now.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
Oh my god, that makes so much more sense also for acrobat technique and for Oboe. Yeah, because then it probably just is not emptying substitution anymore, but like, blocking substitution instead. Can you guys do one thing correctly, just one time? Like, some quality control, please?
How? How did they think that was okay to even put it in the game? I'm so sick of this company. They're trash! Fix the game! It sucks playing this shit! And I'm addicted! So I can't quit!
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you something.
We don't care.
I don't even want to continue going over these patch notes right now. I mean, I will, because of you guys out there, but damn, they really don't care a single bit, huh? You have to imagine, there are sitting paid professionals, and this is what they dropped. None of them noticed, and they just published it just like that.
Do me a favor, please. Get out of here. Get out of here, man. Shit, I'm saying.
Wanna bet they are not even going to bother correcting it? And no, it is not just one time that a mistake slipped through and that could happen to everybody. No, it's almost every goddamn balance patch or development letter, bro. They are changing stuff, not mentioning it in the patch notes. Everybody is confused. People are having discussions and everything. straight up lying in the patch notes or ability descriptions because they are just outright wrong, like in this case, they must literally have zero quality control, bro.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
Anyways, generally speaking, going from emptying to blocking substitution obviously is a major nerf. However, with that sub cooldown accessory running around everywhere right now, and that also stacking with other substitution cooldown buffs for 50, 60, 80, or even up to 90% sub cooldown reduction, and people constantly getting their sub back in like 2 to 10 seconds in a lot of instances, blocking substitution right now is actually way stronger than emptying it in most situations. These supposed nerfs arguably are more so just buffs. I'm starting to question if you guys even understand your own format right now that you are trying to balance.
It's only a game. Why you have to be mad?
Well, Onyx Chidori blocking sub instead of emptying it now, having super armor during the charge now, and the thing with the adjusting the motion of hit enemies, this could be a good thing, could be a bad thing, depends on if they adjusted it to be harder or easier to follow up on. Before you could easily dash towards your enemy and attack them after landing this jutsu, I hope they didn't mess it up now, it would ruin it as an opener. The Haku Ice Trap now also only blocks enemy ninjutsus instead of resetting the cooldown, and yes, this time it actually refers to ninjutsu cooldown when they say ninjutsu cooldown. Kamui Bond now also allows you to lock onto invisible enemies, so I guess it's just kind of a general thing for Sharingan abilities, or maybe even just any dojutsu. But yeah, this is huge for flag battles and the pits obviously. Vanishing Rasengan, Full Moon. Reduce the speed of the Rasengan, increase the tracking ability of the Rasengan, increase the duration of Rasengan generation, reduce the distance enemies are knocked back when hit, reduce cooldown time, reduce damage, remove the guard break effect, making the ninjutsu guardable. So the exact same thing as with the other Vanishing Rasengan in the attack class, right? For the Thousand Hands Jutsu, they reduce the damage of the slash, but increase the damage of the hands. Does that actually make a difference? Like, do we actually have to worry about that? Does it really change anything? I don't know, maybe I'm missing something here. Maybe it's, you know, how much damage you can actually prevent by subbing out or something, but I don't know, I'm just trying to not overthink that one too much, okay? Summoning Jutsu Reanimation. Reduce projectile speed, increase the tracking ability of projectiles. Okay, so that might as well just be a buff or a nerf, you know? It's like, yeah, it's slower, but it tracks better. Like, is it harder or easier to hit now? I don't know. I would have to look at it, okay? Can y'all not just give us exact values and percentages in the patch notes so we don't have to play that weird guessing game all the time and like test everything out ourselves? Can you not just tell us, oh yeah, we reduced the projectile speed by 10% and improved the tracking by, I don't know, 20% or whatever?
Not gonna happen! No, not gonna happen!
Defense type. Earth-style Mudwall Jutsu now also blocks enemy ninjutsus instead of resetting the cooldown, which, unless they would block it for longer than the cooldown of most jutsus would be, is quite obviously a nerf. I don't know why it is listed as a buff here, it doesn't make any sense, probably another mistake, and I'm already trying my best to overlook them.
Stupid!
Anyways, it is a nerf, but Mudwall will still be a great jutsu nonetheless. Shark Bomb now also blocks ninjutsus instead of resetting them, but they reduce the cooldown time, so that's kind of interesting, I guess. If it's just a couple of seconds, well, fair enough, you know. But if they did something crazy and lowered it to ridiculous levels, it could also just be broken as hell. Who knows? Add the stats into the patch notes, goddamn. Don't tell me you reduced the cooldown, tell me by how much you reduced the cooldown. It makes a damn difference. Reducing it by 10% is not the same as reducing it by 80%, what the fuck?
They use calculators too. Stupid.
Sunshield also blocking jutsus instead of resetting them now, and I don't really like that change for this jutsu specifically. I think Sunshield resetting your stuff is absolutely fine, but then I'm also having questions when I read this, because Sunshield also resets your ninjatool stuff. So, does it still do that? Because the patch notes don't say anything about that, and only the jutsus get blocked instead of resetted? Or does it now also only block the ninjatool instead of resetting it? The patch notes only refers to the jutsus, so that would mean it still resets ninjatools, but with how little quality control they seem to have, This sounds like the kind of detail they may also just forgot about, so yes, I have to ask. Toad Oil Bombs have a lower cooldown now. Needle Jizo increased the speed until the attack lands. So, you know, I guess the spikes come out faster or something. Or the attack triggers earlier after activating the jutsu. Transportation Ninjutsu. Added effect that allows locking onto invisible enemies while active.
What the hell is even that?
What is Transportation Ninjutsu? Is that just Kamui Climax? I don't know what else it would be. But I've never heard of a jutsu that's called Transportation Ninjutsu on the defense class. I was thinking Teleportation Jutsu first, but you know, that's attack type, that wouldn't make any sense. 8 Trigrams Hazan Strike now also sublocks instead of resetting the substitution. And yes, they are referring to it as ninjutsu cooldown reset again here. So they in fact keep doing that mistake for the whole balance patch. Cool.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Boruto stream adjusted to restrain the enemy on a successful counterattack. I'm not too sure what that exactly means. I mean, obviously it already stunned enemies before. In fact, it was able to infinitely stun multiple enemies at once and keep them stunned. But they probably refer to like a stun of some sort after hitting them with the Rasengan, I guess. Which is weird. Why would you buff Boruto stream, one of the absolute strongest and most broken moves in the entire game?
Stop it. Get some help.
Hidden Jutsu Sukuna Hikuna. Reduced cooldown time, added effect that allows locking onto invisible enemies while active. Okay, so that is for all kinds of dojutsus, I guess. Karma has a reduced cooldown time and increased damage for the additional input now, which is nice, I guess. Genjutsu Sharingan, added effect that allows locking onto invisible enemies while active. Wood style Hidden Jutsu Deep Forest Emergence, removed the defense reduction and an effect that disables substitutions upon hit. Increased the area of effect, adjusted to enable use in midair. Okay, so removing the defense drop is kind of weird. I would rather have the defense drop and be able to just one-shot them instead of just locking their substitution. I guess both is nice, both is good. Also depends if you have burst damage or like multi-hitting stuff and stuff, you know. Increase the area of effect, obviously nice. Depends on the exact scale of that change, but also being able to use it mid-air is nice. So I guess overall that might just be a big buff for that jutsu. I'm still not sure how it compares to Water Prison, if I would use that one over Water Prison, or Grand Sand Mausoleum, which I would probably use over Water Prison in a lot of instances, depending on the build and the outfit stats. So yeah, we will see how much play that jutsu will actually see after the change, but to me it sounds like a big buff. Reaper Death Seal now has iframes after hitting your target instead of having super armor, which is also a nice change, I guess. And for the heal class, they changed Shadow Possession Jutsu, and it says remove the ninjutsu cooldown reset effect on enemies hit, added an effect that disables the use of ninjutsu upon hit. And now we are exactly in that situation where none of that makes any sense anymore, where I don't have any way to tell what they are referring to here, because that jutsu resets both ninjutsus and substitution cooldown time. So I literally can't tell when they say ninjutsu cooldown here, if they are actually referring to the ninjutsu cooldown reset the jutsu did, or if they are referring to the substitution cooldown reset the jutsu did. Because both the actual ninjutsu cooldown as well as the substitution cooldown have just been referred to as ninjutsu cooldown throughout the patch notes so far. So yeah, there is literally no way of telling what these patch notes actually mean. You will just have to test for yourself. Thanks for nothing again. This is exactly what I mean. What's the point of adding patch notes if they don't end up telling you anything? Waste of resources. I'm telling y'all, someone out there is just really bad at their job and they just keep getting away with it for some reason. Byakugan now also lets you lock onto invisible enemies, and Water Pillar now has a second activation that allows you to transform it into a water dragon that you will shoot at enemies. That is a really cool change. And not gonna lie, Water Pillar already does surprisingly good damage on summon, so with a second damage instance and that extra utility, this really makes the jutsu a lot better and more people may use it outside of objectives now. Truth Seeker Ops Cycle also blocks jutsus now instead of resetting them, but has a lower cooldown. And again, what about the ninjatool stock here? Does it still reset that one, or is it also just blocked now? Thunder Blast Jutsu also only blocks substitution now instead of resetting it. That's it for the healer class. Let's move on to the weapons and ninja tools. Attack type. Passion Gear, youth at full power. Increase the speed until a ranged mid-air attack lands. I don't know exactly what that refers to. I've never really looked at the weapon. I don't have that weapon, I never used it. So maybe you guys can let me know in the comments what you think that means. But it is listed as a buff here. The Momoshiki weapon apparently got the same treatment as the Momoshiki cast character, where they reduced the tracking of the heavy attacks, and I think that is overall a good change. The tracking of those heavy attacks was a bit overtuned, especially on the second one, so great to see that. Fake tags don't empty substitution anymore, but apparently no subblock to make up for it this time, so they are just pretty trash now, and the only play they will ever see is in one-shot builds together with Balsam outfit and either Angelic Advent or the Ice Spread. I'm sorry for everyone getting them from the exchange shop recently. You just got scammed thinking you buy one of the strongest ninja tools in the game, just for them to nerf it into the round a couple of weeks later.
Do you see me f***ing laughing, my nigga?
Madara Warfan Dreaming Moon increased the speed of charge for ranged attacks. That means they buffed the charge attack, I guess, which, you know, should fix some of the issues the weapon had with the charge attack not really landing well. But it is not listed as a buff here, weirdly enough. It is just listed as a rebalance. I don't know where exactly the trade-off is. For me, it just sounds like a necessary buff for the charge attack. But yeah, I guess it's not a buff. It's just a rebalance. I don't know, it's confusing. Maybe it just means something else. Reduce the cooldown time of smoke bombs. I mean, yeah, sure, that's what we needed with that whole ninja tool cooldown accessory around. Surely no one out there will go and try to troll people stun locking them infinitely. I can't think of anyone. Sounds like fun. I don't know, man. Did you ever sit there and think to yourself, oh yeah, smoke bombs having too long of a cooldown is a major balancing issue right now? Seriously, bro.
What?
How are they changing completely random shit like that? But then things like Whip Sword, Aerial Heavy, or the Tool Cooldown accessory remain completely untouched. We have certain combo strings of some weapons that are literally not working, or not working like 80% of the time, and they sit there being like, oh yeah, Smoke Bomb cooldown definitely needs adjustment. That's something we need to work on. Are you guys kidding me?
The game is broken, EA Sports. The game is broken. I'm losing every single game again. Again!
Water release bullets also blocking ninjutsus now instead of resetting them. Uchiha Shuriken Jutsu Infiltration Shadow adjusted the motion that enemies take when hit. It is listed as a buff here, so I would assume they increased the duration of the hit stun to allow you to follow up on it easier, which definitely is a good change.
Hey, that's pretty good.
And they reduced the tracking of the Ninja Hawk. Wait, that's already it? That's it? That's everything?
I don't like where this is going.
Alright, listen. There are a couple of things in the game that could use some adjustment. I don't know if things like Smoke Bomb cooldown would necessarily be at the top of the list, but I think the two biggest complaints people have right now are the Whip Sword and that accessory. The problem with the Whip Sword mainly just is it's aerial heavy. It's a quick, long range guard break with a long hit stun and can also pull in enemies and deal decent damage with the second input. So it is really, really strong, but then it also is completely free. It comes at no risk or trade-off because it barely has any animation lock. Next to no room to get punished for missing it, and hook type of abilities are also usually amongst the strongest abilities in most games, and this one doesn't even have any cooldown. It's obviously broken. Your best bet is to either just stay out of its range and kite them by being faster and having better range options, or to just push through it with super armor. Otherwise, you are pretty much screwed, because outside of that, it is a nightmare to deal with, and I think one way of solving that issue without really taking anything away from the weapon would be to just increase the animation lock of that aerial heavy, so that you can at least bait out a heavy attack and then have a window to punish them for missing. That will also be in line with your goals of making the game more skill-based and everything. As for the accessory though, I don't know what you guys even thought. It completely flipped the game on its head. It would have already been broken if it just reduced either sub cooldown or ninjatool cooldown by 50%. But at this point it's just an absolute fever dream. I don't know what to say. Honestly, I always try to be optimistic and positive when it comes to these updates and announcements. But this time, I gotta admit, it's really kind of a letdown in some areas, and I start to get a bit frustrated by some of these things. Nonetheless, I still want to thank the developers for their endeavors though. You know, even if we content creators sometimes criticize things, that doesn't mean we are your enemies or anything. We're just wanting you to do better because we would love to see you in the game succeed. Yeah, we have an awesome community right here for this game, and with all love and respect, they deserve better. You kinda let them down this time, but we still hope you get your shit together and do better next time. Now, with all that being said, peace out, and never forget, if it has a health bar, it has to die.